Over the years, Jar Jar Binks has become emblematic of the Star Wars prequel era, as well as the totem the internet holds up to argue how terrible those 3 films were. In the years following the release of The Phantom Menace, fans denounced Jar Jar as little more than a cheap money grab made to sell toys, and that was at best. At worst, they described him as all the worst aspects of Star Wars distilled into one character, with some critics suggesting the character represented a racist stereotype on account of his cartoonish accent.
No, Mr. Stay! Mr. called Jar Jar Binks. Mr. your humble servant.
At the center of all this, though, was the man who portrayed Jar Jar, Ahmed. When he was cast for the first Star Wars movie almost 20 years ago, Best was coming off a celebrated turn in the hit musical Stomp in San Francisco. And in 1997, Best went into production on The Phantom Menace with bright eyes and a cheerful attitude. It's easy to see how much fun he had behind the scenes of The Phantom Menace too, singing, dancing, and chipper as ever, even when he was draped in latex during a searing Tunisian summer. But all that changed in May 1999. Practically everybody who was around back then was aware of the fan backlash against the inclusion of Jar Jar Binks in Star Wars canon. And in fairness, Best's overwrought Buster Keaton impression didn't exactly fit well into a film all about taxes and trade confrontations. Even so, however, it's easy to forget today just how toxic that backlash became. A number of hate websites cropped up on the internet, wishing all kinds of horrible things upon the character. Even major news entertainment outlets ran stories about the frothing hate against Jar Jar that, over time, gradually became more and more disturbing. Some Star Wars fans even led calls for Gungan genocide. Comments which were probably intended to be humorous, but which nonetheless feel particularly unfunny in this day and age. It's not that Jar Jar Binks was just unliked or even hated, it's that so many people relish the idea of exterminating something that only existed as a fictional construct. To his credit, George Lucas warned Best ahead of time that there might be anger in response to Jar Jar, the same way there had been to the Ewoks in Return of the Jedi. And for what it's worth, Lucas also publicly defended Best when the backlash turned out to be much worse than either of them could have imagined. Sadly, however, people can only hold up against so much public vilification for so long. After taking about as much as anyone could be expected to take, Best became suicidal. In July 2018, the actor revealed in a Twitter post that he nearly decided to jump off a bridge due to the media backlash against Jar Jar, a backlash that still affects his career today. Several months later, he opened up in greater detail how the harassment he faced for playing Jar Jar Binks pushed him to consider suicide.
I just wanted to play a part. I was exhausted, you know.
Over the last 20 years, Star Wars fans have had plenty of time to reflect on the successes and failures of the prequel movies. And for many of the people who were around when The Phantom Menace was released, it's given them a chance to realize that Jar Jar isn't exactly a treasonous crime against Star Wars. With that reassessment came empathy. And in the online responses to Best's confession, many apologized for getting wrapped up in the frenzied fever of Jar Jar hate. Fortunately, Best's bad experience with the Star Wars universe hasn't put him off making a long overdue return. In 2020, Lucasfilm will debut Star Wars Jedi Temple Challenge, a kids game show featuring a range of physical challenges and contests. All of it will be hosted by Best himself. Still though, it's lucky things turned out so well. Sometimes it's easy to forget that the Star Wars movies are made by people with real lives and feelings, performing their craft earnestly in good faith. Best's story is proof that everyone would be far better off if fans took that to heart. If you or anyone you know is having suicidal thoughts, please call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK.